Now for our feature story of the day. 1 to 1.5 million per Bitcoin, according to the big names, predicting massive debt-driven Bitcoin price rally. Send it. Let's go parabolic, shall we? Now, you know, personally, I've been predicting my bear scenario for this year is 222,000, base case 420, bull scenario 1.1 million. Max Kaiser is calling for 2.2. You guys let me know your thoughts on that. Now, some prominent financial commentators and investment analysts are predicting long-term Bitcoin rallies that may send the price well above 1 million per coin before the end of the decade. That's right, and potentially within the next 3 years or even this year. In fact, Arthur Hayes, just Blaze, is calling for 1 million per coin by the year 2028. Literally 3 years out by the time of the next halving. Let me know if you agree with that. Now let's discuss ARK Invest CEO, Miss Cathie Wood. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And her name was Cathie Wood, and she was stacking the bidding. Let me know. But she says 1.5 million by 2030. In fact, she raised that target, I believe, to 2.8 as a bull scenario. But check this out. Wood said the price would require Bitcoin to grow at a compound annual rate of 58% over the next 5 years, largely fueled by the increased institutional adoption, hence what I coin institutional FOMO, like a mofo. As you can see here, 2030 biddy targets, bear case. And these are the old targets. She upped them and redid them. I know the new bear case is above 500,000, but the original 300,000, the base case original 710, and the bull case original 1.5 million. We also have Robert Kiyosaki. We all know Rich Dad Poor Dad author, who's calling for $1 million price by 2035, quoting him here. I strongly believe by 2035, one Bitcoin will be over 1 million. Gold will be 30,000 and silver 3,000 a coin, citing a record U.S. federal and credit card debt in 2025 as the main driver for the safe haven assets such as precious metals and the pretty little bitty going up forever, Laura. The rising fiscal debt may lead to the biggest stock market crash in history, which could make investors very rich if they hedge by investing in just one Bitcoin or some gold or some silver. Other analysts, including Raoul Pal, have pointed to fiat currency debasement as a key reason behind Bitcoin's appeal as a hedge. We've also had Eric Trump talk about, Bitcoin hitting $1 million, which we did also cover on the stream. Check it. December of 2024, Eric Trump, son of the president, our POTUS, predicted Bitcoin hitting 1 million, citing its potential to transform the global economy in beautiful ways. I also like to add some things in here. Samson Mow, the founder of Jan3, he's been calling for 1 million this cycle. So let that one sink in. Other analysts are calling for above 200,000 in 2025, including 10x Research CEO. Based on the latest price action, we could be hitting 122 here very soon, potentially this week. Quoting him here, we have been quite bullish over the last 5 or 6 weeks. We have been bearish coming out of the Trump inauguration in February, but we turned quite bullish. Open interest is high, I dare say. How high? So high that I can kiss the sky. How sick? So sick that you can fill in the blank. But the funding rate is low, which I think, and shout out Meth and Red, by the way. I think that indicates that, people try to short this rally, and adding that 122 remains the next significant price target to confirm the continuation of the Bitcoin rally. That's right. Bitcoin may extend its rally to a price top of over 200,000 by the end of 2025. Greg Foss, Canadian Bitcoiner, has put forth a model that can value the Bitcoin based on the basket of the G20 sovereign bonds, as he says here. Based on today's default probability across these G20 sovereign bonds, it is already above 200,000 for Bitcoin. And he added that growing concerns over sovereign credit risks and institutional inflows could be the catalyst for the big Bitcoin rally. I also like to add in there stock to flow model, power law model, all extremely bullish. Let's touch upon Plan B stock to flow model. If you're not familiar with it, it shows the Bitcoin price hovering between 500,000 a coin and 1 million coin between now and the next halving of 2028. So that gives us an average of 750,000 per coin, which can happen very realistically this cycle. The reality, folks, Bitcoin has no top because that dirty fiat monopoly money has no bottom. And if they continue to print till the wheels fall off and the pretty little money printer go, brr, who's to tell me how high Bitcoin can go, right? We've seen some craziness. I got involved in 2017. I saw Bitcoin rip from 1,500 to 20,000 in the same year, right? And I recall after Novid in March of 2020, Bitcoin crashed from 8,000, 9,000 all the way down to 3,500. And then within 1 year, from March of 2020 to March of 2021, Bitcoin hit 60,000. And if it can do that, can it do it again? You tell me. History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. And if it doesn't rhyme, will we have an extended cycle and just have bullish momentum continuing throughout what we would consider the bear, which would be after this year? Because typically it's the year preceding the halving, we hit the cycle peak, then 2 years of the winter. But what if it just continues with Bitcoin bulls dominating year after year? Now we have unprecedented demand. Now we got nation state adoption, proposing a Bitcoin strategic reserve in Panama. Look out for that big announcement this week over at the Bitcoin conference, as the mayor of Panama City is going to be speaking at the conference. And Max and Stacy already alluded to it, so you already know. And what about sovereign wealth funds out of Abu Dhabi already stashing and stacking the bitty? What about states like New Hampshire, which already made the law where they can start accumulating Bitcoin? What about Trump establishing, the digital asset reserve for the shitcoins, as well as the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States of America, right? And as long as it's a budget neutral way, they can acquire as much Bitcoin as they like. What if they just print till the wheels fall off, trade that shitcoin monopoly money for the bitty? Pretty low bitty goes up, game theory in full effect, Bitcoin starts flipping and hitting new all-time highs, going from 100,000 to 200,000 to 500,000 to 1 milli. You guys, let me know your thoughts. And we're going to flip this into the extended, uncensored version of the pod. So if you're on the tube, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. We're going to continue the stream on X and Rumble. Deuces.